Hi, I'd just like to share this first few minutes of this video that's been posted by Exposed Truth. Pentagon leak shows vaccine designed to modify behaviour. Shocking, must say. So I'm just going to play you the first few minutes of it.
What you are about to hear is not science fiction or conspiracy theory, but a glimpse of what is going on behind the closed doors of the United States Pentagon. In a small auditorium labeled BC-232, a man is presenting a discussion on how the military-industrial complex can spread a virus and use a vaccine to extinguish what the Pentagon calls undesirable human behavior. Specifically in this case, religious behavior. This is dark science, my friends. With all the mandatory vaccine programs in the United States, do not be deceived for a moment that something like this will not, or possibly hasn't already, been used on the American public. Let's take a look, shall we?
Excuse me, on the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the VMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalists, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach. What you see
here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from going on a bomb fest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here, who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual light lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's the part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain, called the anterior insula, lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether they put a bullet in their head?
So the data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed in the aerosol?
So the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses, such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.
So, FunVax, basically, which they plan to deliver, did you say through flu shots or through the flu virus being spread about? And this programme then goes on to discuss vaccines generally and the fact there's mercury in them and is it squalene as well, which both can cause serious autoimmune disorders. So anyway, without going into the whole issue of vaccines, which, you know, briefly I'll just say that mercury could be replaced with silver, and vaccines could be made a lot safer and friendlier than they are at the moment. I think they're a kind of two-edged sword at the moment, designed to cause us as much damage as they might protect us from, so the status quo doesn't really change. But anyway, to look at this now, what this guy was saying about the genetic part at the beginning of his graph that he showed with these two different types of genes. So how many other genes have they identified, you know, that they're going to be able to develop a vaccine for, that they'll be delivering to us through a virus? Have they got genes to make people, you know, a vaccine to make people more compliant? And who's to say what a fundamentalist is really in this world? And this is where their whole theory just collapses, okay? It completely collapses. This graph is absolutely meaningless anywhere except in their world, okay? Their world, which is also the external world, which is controlled to a very high degree by now, to the extent it funds and produces these kind of scientists and gives them agendas what to work on. Now, I read a PNAC report from, I think it might have been 2005, it was in 2005 that I read it, I think, that was talking about developing, you know, genetics, looking at genetics, ways of genetically modifying the population, you know, inhibiting certain genes to target, that was it, to produce viruses that would target certain ethnic groups. Okay, it seems they've gone a lot further than that, because they're actually targeting specific genes that reflect a specific psychological state of mind, you know, state of being. Okay, and we all know it takes lots of different kinds of people to make the world go round. Now, the important point here to realise is that what he's studying and the effects they're studying and the context that into which they're putting those effects are all based within this world. Okay, so you know, somebody might not be a fundamentalist. This gene type might not be a fundamentalist, an extremist in a balanced world. They might actually be a really nice, passionately lawful person. Okay, but the world is so confused that, you know, and people are doing such horrible things that people can be persuaded, people of this gene might be persuaded that, you know, to put their passions into fighting what they see as the enemy and fiercely believing in God, because they haven't got anything else in this world. The world's not giving them an accurate concept of God. It is denying the concept of God and replacing it with what? Really? You know, I mean, it just might as well be a devil, really. You know, it's destroying our planet, it's polluting our planet, it's abusing our children, it's keeping us slaves, it's put us all under this horrific, unrepayable debt. It's divided everybody. It feeds off hatred and confusion and, you know, xenophobia. It's what, you know, what is it? What is it? And now they want to control our mind as they see our minds in their world. You know, has he checked his own genes? Has he got the fundamentalist gene? One might wonder. You know, and it's the same with the neuroscience. You know, they're studying people's brains and they're saying, oh, this brain means this and this means that. But they're doing it all within the context of a really imbalanced, lawless, criminal world. So how can they really tell what a brain is like or what these attributes really are? You know, they just can't. How can they judge what makes a human in an inhuman world when they're not even human themselves? Because really, if they were, they wouldn't be sat there. They'd be like standing outside. You know, these are supposed to be the intellectuals, educated people, okay, leaders of society. They get paid, you know, massive, huge salaries for this and for talking about all of this and planning it all, okay. So if they're that bothered about the human species, then, you know, why aren't they demanding an investigation into Pizzagate? Why aren't they outside, you know, Washington, demanding that something's done about Fukushima? You know, they're just... But no, instead, they're really busy, you know, looking about developing these vaccines or whatever. It's like biological warfare, really, isn't it? To alter our DNA. Okay, and they're talking about doing it on Afghanistan people. Have they already done it on the American people? It makes you wonder. Have they developed a vaccine over there to, you know, some sort of virus that, like, genetically modifies people so that, you know, they just, like, start behaving like cattle? Because surely something must be happening. I mean, this is so serious. It's so serious when we've reached this point, you know, and as they say at the end of this shot, Hitler would be proud, the Nazis would be proud, you know. That's what it says. The Nazis would have been proud. And they really would, wouldn't they? You know. So, I'll say thanks to Exposed Truth and to Anonymous for showing us this. I mean, as far as I'm aware, I've been told it is authentic. It looks authentic, and as I say, it does match in with what I was reading about the work PENTAGON was intending to do, you know, about targeting specific ethnic groups, you know, and this is actually, this is like even worse than that, because they're not just, I mean, that is just dreadful enough that they could even think about developing weapons, biological weapons that would target specific ethnic groups. Okay, but they're actually going to get silently and stealthily into people's heads, and that's an immense amount of power for people who have given us this horror for the world reality, the global reality, and who've thrived on horror, you know, who's basically used the knowledge and technology of 2 horrific world wars, a history of brutal occupation of native peoples' lands and subjugation of the native peoples, and the enslavement even within their own populations from where they come from within Europe, most of them. Okay, and then this horrible pyramidical blooming social meritocracy economic structure that they've built, which is totally divorced from any true understanding of any true universal law. It's just even divorced from its own humanity, and you know they're planning to do this. Who are they, and how dare they talk about Afghanistan people? You know, saying, oh, and we're just going to, you know, pass it through flow on the Afghani population. Obviously, we're not going to examine everybody's brain. We're just going to put this genetically altering material, biological material out through a virus in the air and let it just infect everybody. And, you know, I mean, we do have to rise up. We do. This is so serious. This is taking control of human consciousness. This is taking control of the child. It's stealing a child, you know. And as I say, you know, studying human brains in an imbalanced society, it is impossible, because you can't trust your results, and you can't really learn anything off them, because these are brains that have been abused. They've been lied to. They've been deceived. They've not been properly educated. A lot of them carry false beliefs. You know, I mean, there's no way that you could really learn anything apart from a few little pointers here and there. But, you know, you just, what are you doing, really? You know, what are you doing? You're not building on anything solid here. You're just poking and prodding about, and you're not going to find anything, because you're like a child at the back of a TV set. Okay, you can pull all the bits out, you can notice what's there, but really you've got absolutely no idea about what you're doing when you put it, even if you try to put it all back. You just do not know what you're doing, apart from being able to identify certain parts. But that is not knowing, and the human mind it's immense. It's as immense as the entire universe, okay? And you know, you're not even anywhere near, and you know, they want to start altering people's consciousnesses, genetically modifying people's consciousnesses with a flu vaccine. So, you know, as I've always said, I don't like to deliver bad news without offering a solution, and there is a solution, and the solution is to stand up for your rights, stand up for your children's rights, demand child protection directives, once you stand up for your children's rights, then you'll get your own human rights as well, you know, because that's how it works. And it's like but we must stand up for our rights, and standing up for the child rights is standing up for our human rights. And we cannot allow these monsters to continue, and who knows what else they're doing if this is where they're at and that is what they're talking about. I mean, I am going to research this some more, and I do hope that it does turn out to be a hoax, but like I say, I did read the PNAT report, so my heart sank when I saw this. And you know, I trust Exposed Truth, and also the anonymous team don't usually leak out rubbish. So, you know, I think we just have to take this for what it is, but understand, you know, this is the kind of thing that we're facing, that Trump, the distraction, and, you know, even the things that should be in the news are just ignored, you know, because it's fake news apparently. Say the media refusing to report it, but then we've got Trump calling the media fake news, you know, and so that's just all messed up. But at the end of the day, this Pizzagate stuff really does need investigating, okay? But, you know, where are our professionals and educated and so-called elites at, trying to work out how to mind control the population of Afghanistan? Yeah, the Nazis would have been proud. Are we proud, you know? Is America proud? Is Britain proud? Anyway, thanks for listening, and as I say, stand up for your rights.